Welcome to the demo for the Biotility course, Regulatory Approval for Medical Devices in the United States. This course describes FDA's regulatory controls for 3 common marketing approval pathways for the 3 classes of medical devices, and it also explains the Code of Federal Regulations that pertain to medical device approval in the United States. This course is presented by Tiara King from Biotility at the University of Florida. The course author for this content is Wayner Williams.
Common regulatory pathways to market. The most common regulatory pathways in which to place a medical device into the U.S. market are 1. No pre-market evaluation by FDA, 2. Pre-market notification, most often known as the 510K, and 3. Pre-market approval. For devices that require no pre-market evaluation by FDA, this option is limited to most Class 1 and some Class 2 devices. They are considered low-risk devices for which general regulatory controls are adequate to provide reasonable assurance of safety and effectiveness. Most Class 2 devices and some Class 1 and Class 3 devices fall under the pre-market notification 510K option. These are generally devices that are not life-supporting or life-sustaining and that have a moderate or intermediate level of risk. Special regulatory controls apply, and the device must be shown to be substantially equivalent to an existing Class 2 device with the same intended use. The pre-market approval pathway is required for most devices that have been determined by FDA to be Class 3, which is the highest level of risk. These devices are typically life-sustaining or life-supporting and require general and special regulatory controls as well as pre-market approval. Class designation and regulatory pathway. We have talked a lot about regulatory controls, and you may be wondering, what are some of these controls? General controls include establishment registration of the manufacturer, medical device listing with FDA, compliance with current good manufacturing practices in 21 CFR 820, labeling devices in accordance with labeling regulations, and finally, submission of a pre-market notification or 510K. Special controls include special label requirements, mandatory performance standards, and post-market surveillance. Pre-market approval includes submission of the pre-market application, most commonly known as the PMA, demonstration of safety, and demonstration of efficacy for the intended use. Taking a look at the table on the screen, we really get a good image of how medical device classification dictates what is required for marketing medical devices in the United States. Class 1 low-risk devices only require general regulatory controls. Class 2 moderate-risk devices require general controls and special controls. The higher-risk Class 3 devices require general controls, special controls, and a pre-market approval. Cogitate. Thinking about your organization. What are the medical device classifications of the devices marketed by your organization? What controls do you have in place for these devices? If your product is a Class 3 device, what information do you have to demonstrate safety and efficacy? As a reminder, both general regulatory controls and special regulatory controls apply to Class 2 medical devices that require pre-market notification. The general controls required for Class 1 devices including establishment registration of companies, medical device listing with FDA, compliance with current good manufacturing practices in 21 CFR 820, labeling devices in accordance with labeling regulations, and submission of a pre-market notification 510K, are also required for Class 2 devices. Special regulatory controls include special label requirements, mandatory performance standards, and post-market surveillance. Examples of mandatory performance standards include biocompatibility testing, software or firmware, clinical data, and usability studies. Once manufacturers have identified the predicate device and have finalized their safety and performance testing, They are then ready to begin preparing their 510K application. 21 CFR 807.92 contains the content and format of a 510K summary.